Vaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Deham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Amsajiv Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gupta Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Mami Hari Pancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Krishna Pishthaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitina Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. So again, I'd like to welcome all the assembled Vaishnavas for today's discussion, Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the previous two sessions, we have discussed from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which mainly deals with the Poshanam aspect, the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam described, and the 4th topic is on Poshanam. So Poshan, how Lord actually takes care of his devotee, gives Poshanam to his devotee. So that is being described. So right at the beginning of 6th canto, Parikshit Maharaj had this concern about what will be, how can the living entities who are suffering in hellish planets, they can be delivered. And in reply to that, Srila Shukdev Maharaj is speaking about, he first spoke about the Karma Kanda atonement, which Parikshit Maharaj rejected, saying it's Kunjara Shauchavat, it's like bathing of an elephant. And then he gave the Jnana process, but that also does not, eradicate the sinful tendency from the root. And then while describing the path of Bhakti, which is very, very wholesome in its attribute of creating that devotional impression in the heart, which completely eradicates the sinful tendencies. So to substantiate the point, Shri Shukdev Maharaj is giving the story of Ajamil. And in the first 2 chapters, we saw how Ajamil, who was very sinful due to his association, he is saved from the hands of Yamaduta because of he chanting Narayan at the end of his life, even though he meant to chant Narayan as his son. But that is the potency of chanting the holy names that was described. So in the previous chapter, end of 2nd chapter, we saw that how hearing the whole conversation, it gave an impetus to Ajamil to rectify his way and actually continue with his devotional practice with sincerity and make his life successful. So now today we are going to discuss the third chapter of the 6th canto, in which we will see what is the reaction of Yamaraj, on whose behalf or whose servants the Yamadutas had come to bring and punish Ajami. So the first verse of the third chapter goes like this. Shri Raja Uvacha Nishamya Deva Sabatopavarnitam Pratyaha Kim Tan Api Dharma Raja Evam Hatagyo Vihatan Murare Nedishkareryasya Vashe Janoyam. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking in this chapter, in this first verse, Nishamya Deva Sa Bhatopavarnitam. So you have described about this incident, but how did Yamaraj, who is Dharma Raja, who is the controller of all living entities, how did he react, or what was his reaction when he heard about this incident? That Yamaraj's order is always unbreachable, because it's Yamadanda, it's mentioned as Yamadanda. Nobody can overlook, because he is superintendent of justice. So when his servants were defeated by Vishnu Dutas, what was his reaction or reply? So that is being asked. And in the second verse, Parikshit Maharaj is saying, actually, I am asking this because people may have some doubts that, okay, there was a discussion between Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas, but what was the reaction of Yamaraj to this? Yamasya Devascha na danda bhanga. It has never happened that what was ordained by Yamaraj, it has been bhanga, it has been broken down. Putaschanar she shruta purva asit. It has never been heard before that it has been what he decided as punishment or justice has been overlooked. Etan mune vrishchati loka samshayam. So there may be samshay in the hearts of people which may arise. Nahi tvad anya iti me vinishchitam. And I can firmly conclude you are the right person to eradicate this doubt. So please explain what happened next. So then Srila Shukdev Goswami starts explaining what is the outcome or what is the reaction of Yamaraj to this. So in the first 10 verses, the first two questions are the first two shlokas are the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. Then from third verse onwards, Shukdev Goswami is replying and he's telling how Yamadutas, so he's continuing from the story where it was left, where Yamadutas having their attempts being foiled of catching the soul of Ajamin for punishment. So they return back to their master's abode and how they start inquiring. So from 4th verse till the 10th verse, Yamadutas are asking their doubts. How come our attempts were foiled? So that is mentioned. So in the 4th verse, it's mentioned, Kati Shantiha Shastaru Jiva Lokasya Ve Prabhu Tre Vidyam Purvatah Karma Phala Abhivayakti Hetava. So he's saying how many rulers and causes of results there are in this material world. So in the scriptures, so there is Shastra, there is Shastra and Shastaro, who are the controllers of rulers. Jiva Lokasya Ve Prabhu. So in this world, how many controllers are there? Tre Vidyam Kurvate Karma Phala Abhivyakti Hetava. Why? Because everyone is under 3 gunas. So people are acting within the 3 modes. So what is the deciding factor? Or who will give the reaction for the results? Are there more than one controllers? Why this question has arisen in the heart of Yamadutas is, we thought you were the sole controller who will give justice. But from where these Vishnu Dutas come and have foiled our attempt? So quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Prabhupada mentions, actually they were so disappointed, the Yamadutas, and they were in great anger. And they have thought, Arey, we always thought you are the only master, you are superintendent, there is no one above you. And we thought we are the faithful servants of such a master. And if our attempts are defeated, then we have a powerless master. You are not so powerful. So they were quite frustrated, and therefore they are asking, how many controllers are there? So in the next verse, they are saying that if there are many rulers, if there are many people holding on to similar post of giving jurisdiction, they may have different opinions. Somebody may feel punishment on certain occasion and reward on certain occasion. So people will get different punishments or rewards. Shastaro danda bharina kasya seyatam navakasya mrityus chamritam evava. So sometimes people will be punished, sometimes they will be rewarded, and there will be contradictory effects to that. So they are asking, we had gone with the right authorization as have been described by you to punish Ajamil because he was so sinful throughout his life. But our authority was challenged, and Vishnu Dutas, they came and said, no, you don't know the proper rules, and they overruled our jurisdiction. So that is what they are mentioning. Prabhupada is saying, actually the position of Yamraj was very awkward in case of Ajamil because Yamadutas were right in attempting to arrest Ajamil. But the Vishnu Dutas had baffled them. So, although Yamraj under these circumstances was accused by both Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas, but he was perfect in administrating justice because he knows who is the Supreme Lord. He is empowered by the Supreme Lord. And that is what he is going to explain in his answer to Vishnu Dutas. So in text number 6, further, there must be one central emperor and there may be multiple departmental heads. And therefore, law must be one. There cannot be contradictory laws. Otherwise, people will get not proper justice. So there must be a central law and that must control everyone. So they were feeling quite upset and they were thinking, oh, I think we should commit suicide because we are serving a master who is not powerful enough or who has someone superior to him. And then in text number 7, they further say, we thought you are supreme judge of all living entities, including demigods. Atastam eko bhutanam sa ishwaranam adhishwaraha shasta dandadharo rinam subha ashubha vivechanaha. So you can decide what is shubha, ashubha, that you are the master, supreme authority, and you actually determine who has to be given punishment, who has to be given reward. Tasya te vihito dando na loke vartate dhuna chaturbhir adbhutai siddher agyate vipralambita. Further they say, but now we see that your order is transgressed by Vishnu Dutas. So what is most difficult for us to accept is, we always thought you are the highest authority and therefore we are serving such a master. But your jurisdiction has also been overruled. That the punishment ordained under your authority is no longer effective. So these 4 beautiful, wonderful persons came and overruled us. So therefore that is giving us a lot of discouragement. We are not sure whether we are serving the topmost authority. And what did they do? Niyamanam tadeshat asmabhir yatana grahan vyamochen pataki nam chitva pashan prahasyate. We had actually captured Ajamil and were just dragging him towards hell for his punishment because he had done so many sinful acts. But these beautiful personalities came and they just cut the ropes and released him. So that is our in heart we are feeling remorseful. We could not actually fulfill your direction. So we are not sure whether you are the supreme authority or not. And then in the 10th verse they mentioned that as soon as Ajamil uttered the name Narayan, these 4 men immediately arrived. So kindly tell who these personalities are. They came running saying, do not fear, do not fear. In that mood, Ma Bho, Iti Ayum Dutam. They arrived very soon. So Prabhupada writes, quoting Vishnu Chikrit Thakur, the order carriers of Yamraj being very much aggrieved because of defeat of 4 Vishnudutas wanted to bring them before Yamraj and if possible punish them. Otherwise they desired to commit suicide. So they were saying, we don't want to live if our master is not strong enough to protect his subjects, his faithful servants who are following his instruction. So we better commit suicide. So that was their mood. So after expressing their heart's desire, Sri Yamaraj starts replying. So it's mentioned, Sri Badrayana Ruvacha, Shukdev Goswami says, Iti Deva sa aprishta praja samya mano yamaha prita swadutan pratyaha smaran padam bhujam harehe. So first thing, what is the first reaction of Yamaraj is very beautifully mentioned in this 11th verse. Yamaraj praja samya mano yamaha pritaha swadutan pratyaha. He was very pleased, pritaha, and remembering smaram padam bhuja hari. He started remembering the lotus feet of Lord Hari. What made him pleased was, generally in Yamaloka, there is always talk about punish him, kill him, he has done this sin, he has done that. But now somebody is chanting name of Narayan, because previously we saw Yamadutas chanted Narayan's name. So a servant, Yamraj in this case, is pleased hearing the name of his master, Narayan, Krishna, Hari. So he becomes immediately pleased. After a long time in this assembly, I am hearing the words of my master, my worshipful Lord, Narayan. So therefore, he was pleased. And he started remembering the lotus feet of his worshipful master. So that is the nature of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is not pleased by his own glorification, but he is very happy, pleased when he hears the glories of his master, when he hears the name of his master. So Yamraj, even though he is so authoritative, he has a responsibility which gives him so much of power, strength, and even jurisdiction, which seems like nobody can go against it. But still, he is true servant. He feels for his master. He feels how he is servant to his master, Lord Hari. And just hearing his name and remembering his beautiful lotus feet, he becomes happy. So then some very beautiful verses will now flow where Yamaraj is also acknowledging what is so 3 things we will see in this section where Yamaraj is mentioning. First is the glory of Lord and his name. Second, the glory of the Lord's associates, the Vaishnavas. And third, what is how those who are the faithful servants of Lord Hari, under whose jurisdiction they come into. So these 3 aspects Yamaraj will mention. Yama Uvacha. So he mentions in text number 12, Paro Madanyo Jagatastatu Tastushascha Otam Protam Pratavadyatra Vishwam Yad Amshatosya Sthiti Janmanasha Nasi Otavadyasya Vashecha Loka. So, first thing he's telling the glory of the Supreme Lord. He's telling that how Paro Mat Anyo Jagatas Tatuscha, how the Lord Hari Narayan is above all. He is superior than me, all the other devtas, moving and non-moving living entities. He is like Otam Protam Patavad Yatra Vishwam. Like there's a cloth, when the cloth is made, there are, cloth lengthwise and crosswise, there are strings which are going, which make the cloth. So similarly, Lord is Otam Protam. He is present throughout the universe. Yad Amshato Asya Sthiti Janmanasha. By his Amsha of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, he does creation, sthiti, Janma, creation, sthiti, which is maintenance, and Nasha, Pralay, Lord Shiva. Nasi Otavad Yasya Vashecha Loka. So two analogies are mentioned. First is of the cloth, where the clockwise, lengthwise, crosswise, the strings make up the cloth. And second is how a bull is controlled through a rope in the nose. So in the same way, the entire world is controlled by the Lord through his energies. So that is mentioned. So two analogies are mentioned. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose. Nasi otavad yasya vashecha lokaha. Prabhupada in the purport is saying, yeah, your questions are very, very laudable, Yamadutas. You asked, is there anyone superior to me? And is there one authority who actually governs administration? Yes, there is one supreme controller above everything. And he is in charge of everyone. And he is Lord Hari. So Prabhupada is quoting Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Matta Paratram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. So he is that supreme Lord. And quoting Srila Madhvacharya, Prabhupada quotes Yatha Kantha Pataha Sutra Ota Protas Chasha Sthiti Evam Vishnav Idam Vishwam Otam Protam Cha Samsthitim. Like the two threads, horizontal and vertical, of which quilt is manufactured, Lord Vishnu is situated as vertical and horizontal cause of cosmic manifestation. Basically, he is the cause of all causes, Lord. He is the horizontal and vertical cause of this cosmic manifestation. So that is also a certain here. Then, what is the glory? Supreme Personality of Godhead binds man through his words in Vedas. So that is mentioned. Yo nama bhirvachi janma nijayam badnati tantryam ivadama bhirga yasme balimta imanama karma nibandha baddha chakita vahanti. So if you remember in the previous discussion between Yamadutas and Vishnudutas, Vishnudutas had asked, on what basis you prescribe punishment or justice? So they had said, on the basis of Vedas. Now, in this particular verse, Yamraj is telling, he is giving the example of that bullock cart, again, analogy, that bullock cart ties rope through the nostril of bulls to control them. So Lord also binds all men to the ropes of his words in Vedas. So Vedas are not some piece of knowledge or some independent work. They're actually the words of the Lord. So what is being mentioned by the Lord, they are Vedas. They are the knowledge. They are the basis of jurisdiction, which is set forth as the names, activities of the distinct orders of human society. and because of which different people work by offering him presentations according to their respective activities. So then Prabhupada is quoting how human being has to work according to their Varna ashram, and actually the perfection of Varna ashram is samsiddhir haritoshanam ata pumvish dvaja sheshta varnashama vibhagasa swanu tasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. That aspect he is saying. The word namabhir vachi are very important. Why? In varnashram there are different varnas and ashramas. The Vak or Vedic injunctions give direction for all these divisions. Everyone is expected to offer obeisances to Supreme Lord and perform his duties as indicated in Vedas. So then, further on, Yamraj mentions even demigods, rishis, in mode of goodness cannot understand Supreme Lord. What to speak of others who are under illusion? Aham Mahindro Nirati Pracheta Somo Agnirisha Pavano Virinchi Aditya Vishwe Vasavotta Sadhya Marudgana Rudragana Sashitha Anne Chaye Vishwarisho Maresha Brigavadyo Sprishta Rajastamaska Yasye hitam na vidusprishta maya Sattva pradhana pikim tatonye. So he's saying, Aham, myself, Mahindra, Indra, the king of heavens, Nirati, Pracheta, the Varuna, Soma, the sun, the moon god, Agni, the fire god, Isha, Pavano, Virinchi, Brahma, all Aditya, Vishwe, Marudgana, Rudragana, Sa Asiddha. So all of this, Anya Chaye Vishwasrijo Amrishesha. All of them who have done the Vishwasrijan, they cannot know even though they are in mode of goodness. Asprishta Rajas Tamaska. Asprishta, they are not touched by Rajogun and Tamagun. Jasye hitamna vidu sprishta maya. But those who are touched by Lord's illusory energy, Sattva Pradhana Apikim Tatuanya. If these Sattva Pradhana, they cannot understand the Supreme Lord, what to speak of general people who are under illusion. So he is making it clear that don't become dejected that you are not able to comprehend the words of Vishnu Dutas. Because to comprehend the Supreme Lord is not so easy. Even great personalities are not able to comprehend. So what to speak of common persons like us? So in that mood, he is kind of solacing the Yamadutas. Prabhupada in the purport is quoting from Yudhishthir Maharaj, the first canto, 9th chapter. Nahi asya karichid rajan kuman veda vidit sitam yad vigyasaya yukta muyyanto kavayopi. So Bhishma Dev is telling to Yudhishthir Maharaj, even big philosophers, kavis, munyanti, they become bewildered. They are not able to understand who is Krishna, what is his plan. So to understand Lord's plan, to comprehend Lord's plan, to be able to make sense of Lord's plan is not easy. Even great persons who are situated in Satagun, they are not able to do. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschedita siddha yatadam api siddhanam kaschinvam veti tattvataha. Only one who takes to process of devotional service can understand Krishna. So that is being mentioned. Then further he says, Yam vena gobhir manasa subhirva rida girava subhrito vichakshate atma namanta ridisantam atmanam chakshur yatha iva kritayas tatha param. So he gives another beautiful analogy of eyes. So he's saying, like eyes, the different organs of the body, they cannot see eyes. as the different limbs of body cannot see eyes, the living entities cannot see the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is like the eyes, and the different limbs are the living entities. Not by the senses, by mind, by life air, by thoughts within the heart, or by vibration of words can living entity ascertain the real situation of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because the various senses, the various organs in the body, they cannot see the eyes, but the eyes can direct the various senses to do their function. So if the legs have to walk, the eyes will show the direction in which to walk. What is the right path? If the hands have to pick up something, the eyes will give the direction how to move the hand, in which direction to pick up. So it's actually not the organs which are capable of doing the work, but it's the capability or the insight or uh, the direction shown by the eyes which makes the different angas or the different limbs capable of their work. Similarly, it's only the Supreme Lord's uh, direction, jurisdiction as Paramatma, which makes the living entity capable to work. And the living entities, by their thoughts, by their mind, by their life air asu, by their heart, by their words, they cannot actually ascertain what is the situation of living entity. So very beautifully, through the analogy of eyes and the body, is explaining. Prabhupada says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshu arjuna tishtati, quoting from Bhagavad Gita. Lord is situated in everyone's heart. The living entity cannot do anything without the sanction of the super soul. The super soul is acting at every moment, but the living entity cannot understand the form and activities of the super soul by manipulating his senses. So just manipulating the senses, he cannot understand what are the activities of super soul. Like the bodily limbs cannot see the eyes. So then further in text number 17 and 18, what are the qualities of Vishnu Dutas? Because one of the main reasons of discomfort of Yamadutas was these beautiful personalities came and they challenged the authority of us and in turn challenged your authority. So Yamraj is first of all making them understand they are not ordinary. Who are these Vishnu Dutas? So he is telling in these two verses. Tasyatmatantrasya harer adhishtu parasya mayadhipater mahatmana prayena duta ihave manoharas charanti tadrupa guna swabhava. Tasyatmatantrasya hare adhishtu. They are tantrasya, tasya atma tantrasya. They are self-sufficient. They are not dependent on any other person. Harer adhishtuhu. And who is their master? Their master is Hari. Parasya mayadhipater mahatmana. He is Mayadhipati. He is the master of illusionary energy. Mahatmana. He is the super soul. Prayena duta ihave manoharas. And they are the order carriers. They are the duta. And what is their outlook or how do they look? They are manohara. They are very, very beautifully bodily features. Charanti tadrupa guna swabhava. And they move possessing bodily features, transcendental qualities and nature. So their rupa, guna and swabhava is similar to that of Supreme Lord. So who is Supreme Lord? He is self-sufficient, he is independent, he is master of everyone. And the way the Lord is very beautiful in his appearance, in his qualities, in his features. Similarly are the Vaishnavas or Vishnu Dutas. They are very beautiful. They have beautiful transcendental qualities and they have beautiful nature. And they wander in this world, they move about in this world with full independence. They are not dependent on anything. Prayena duta iyave manoharas. they move. Charanti, manoharas charanti. They move about as per their desire. So here in this verse, how the devotees of the Lord are as powerful as the Lord himself, that is being described. Further he says, Bhutani Vishnu Surapujitani Durdarshalingani Mahadbhutani Rakshanti Tad Bhakti Mata Parebhyo Mattascha Martyan Atha Sarvatascha. Bhutani Vishnu Surapujitani. So the order carriers of Vishnu are even worshipped by Sura, the demigods. And Durdarsha Lingani, they have very beautiful features. Durdarsha Lingani, their linga, their body is very Durdarsha, very beautiful. Maha Adbhutani, and they are very Adbhuta, very wonderful, great person. Rakshanti Tad Bhakti Mata Parebhyo. And what is the nature of Lord towards his devotees? The Vishnu Dutas protect the devotees of the Lord from the hands of enemies, from envious persons, and even from my jurisdiction, as well as from natural disturbances. So, who are these? Like Lord, they have a similar mood, and they are the servants of Lord, the Vishnu Dutas. So, what they do, Rakshanti Tat Bhakti Mata. So, those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Rakshanti, they protect. Parebhyo, from those who are inimical, Mattas, from me, from Martyan, from other human beings, Atha Sarvatascha, from everything, all natural disturbances, everything, they give protection to the devotees of the Lord. So that is the nature of Lord and his devotee servants, the Vishnu Dutas. So Yamraj has specifically described the qualities of Vishnu Dutas to convince his own servants not to be envious of them. So generally, when we see someone powerful, when we see someone who is able to outdo us, we become envious of him. So Yamaraj is saying, no, don't become envious of them. They are very great. They are servants of great person. And they have similar great nature. So they are worshipable. They are worshipping and they are being worshipped by great demigods. And they are very dutiful to protect the devotees of the Lord. कौन्तेय प्रति जाने ही नामे भक्त्या प्रणश्यति padam kyadam yad vipadam na tesham. So there is danger at every step. Padam yad vipadam na tesham in this world. But that is for the non-devotees. For devotees, Krishna and his servants are there to protect. This is very famous, beautiful verse. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam nave vidur rishayo napi deva na siddhya mukhya asura manushya puto no vidya dharacharanadya. So what is dharma? So as discussed, it's not just what are the words written in Vedas. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Actual religious principle is what is directly governed or given by Bhagavad Pranitam, the Lord himself. Nave vidu rishayo napi deva, and it is not understood by Rishi Muni, Deva, Siddha, Mukhya, Asura, Manushya, Vidyadhara, Charanadya. And the intricacies are so difficult to comprehend that even great personalities like Rishis, Devtas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, who are situated in goodness, they cannot ascertain what is real religious principles. So Prabhupada is actually clarifying, when challenged by Vishnu Dutas to describe the principles of religion, the Yamudata said, Veda pranihito dharma. The religious principles are the principles enacted in Vedic literature. They did not know, however, that Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies that are not transcendental. So in Vedas, there are various sections. There are Karma Kandya sections, Jnana sections, Upasana sections. So there is a big chunk of section which gives karma kandya rituals, which are not transcendental, they are ritualistic ceremonies. So one may say, Are, they are the highest authority, but no, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranita. What is ordained by the Lord Himself, bhagavad pranitam, that is to be accepted as the highest authority or truth. Real religious principles are nistraygunya, above the three modes of material nature, or transcendental. So that is being ascertained here, not what Krishna says in Gita, Vedavad Rata Partha Nanyad Asti Vadina. So there are materialistic persons who are attached to some Vedic rituals, and that is not the dharma, the highest dharma. It may be intermediate dharma, but it's not the highest dharma. That is to be ascertained through Bhagavad Pranitam. This transcendental religious principle must be understood from Supreme Personality of Godhead directly or from a special representative as stated in the next verses. So either from Lord directly or from his special representatives. Who are these special representatives? So they are mentioned in the text 20 and 21. The 12 Mahajans. Who are the 12 Mahajans? Swambhur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapulo Manuhu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balirvaya Sakirvayan Dvadashaita Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bhata Huyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Gyatvam Ashnute. So Swambhu, Brahmaji, Narada, Shambhu, Lord Shiva, Kumara, Kapila, Kapildev, Manu, Swambhu Manu, Prahlad, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Bali Maharaj, and Shukdev, Vaya Sakir, and Vayam are in the end. Yamraj mentions his own name also. So these are the 12 Mahajans, and they actually can ascertain what is the actual dharma. Dvadashaita Vijanimo, Dvadashaita. These are the 12 Vijanimo. They know. Dharmam Bhagavatam Vataha. They know what is religious principle, which teach a person how to live or how to love the Supreme Personality of God. Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Gyatva Amritam Ashnute. It's very guhya. It's not, it's very confidential. Vishuddham. It is very, very pure. And Durbodham. It's not very easy to understand. But Yam Gyatva, one who knows Amritam Ashnute, he actually enjoys eternal life. So these 12 Mahajans, they know this religious principle and they can teach it to others. But it is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. So that is being mentioned. So Prabhupada is talking about the 4 Sampradayas. The Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Lakshmi Shri Sampradaya or the Kumar Sampradaya. Then 22nd verse, Etavan eva lokesmin pumsam dharma parasprita bhakti yogo bhagavati tannama grahanadivi. Etavan eva lokesmin pumsam dharma parasmita bhakti yoga bhagavati tannama grahanadivi. So one may question, what is this religious principle? What is this Bhagavad Dharma? So that is mentioned here. So from 22nd, this verse to 30, these 9 verses, Yamraj glorifies the process of chanting. So we saw in the previous 2 chapters, the glorification of chanting of the holy names being stressed so much. So again, now Yamraj, from the mouth of Yamraj himself, we again see what is the glory or beauty of the chanting of holy names. So Yamraj mentions, Etavan eva lokesmin. In this world, lokesmin, pumsam dharma parasmritaha. So the religious principle for living entities, which is transcendental, is recognized as Bhakti Yoga Bhagavati, the transcendental devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Tannama Grahana Adibi, and which starts with or begins with chanting of the holy names. So, सवे पुंसा परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिर अधोक्षजे अहेतु की अप्रतिहता ये आत्मा सुप्रसिद्धति. So we saw that the beginning paro dharma is bhakti, ahetu ki apratihata. So here also it is being ascertained that Tannama Grahana, such religious system begins with Tannama Grahana, chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Prabhupada says, after chanting the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy, one gradually sees the form of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, and transcendental qualities of Him. So when one starts chanting, dancing, then Nama will reveal Guna, will really Leela, the form, etc. This way, one fully understands the situation of personality of Godhead. One can come to understanding of the Lord, how he descends to the material world, how he takes his birth, etc. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. So actually, when one takes to devotional service, which begins with chanting of the holy names, actually that is the real religious principle. Further he says, Nama Ucharana Mahatmyam Harer Pashyata Putraka Ajamilopi Yenave Prityupashadam Uchyata. Nam Ucharan Mahatmyam. Just by chanting Nama of the Lord, Mahatmyam, that is the exalted position, Hari Pashyata Putraka. So, he is telling to his servants, Yamadutas, oh my dear sons, see how glorious is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. This Ajamil, he is so sinful. And Ajamil api yeneva. His Ajamil is sinful, and just he chanted the name of Lord Mrityu Pashat. And when he was chanting, what was his motive? Putraka. He was actually not calling Lord himself, but he was actually calling his son. He did not know that he was chanting the name of Narayan or Lord Hari. But nonetheless, because he chanted the holy name of Lord, he remembered Narayan, and thus he was immediately saved from the ropes of death. Mrityu Pashat Amuchyate. He was saved from Mrityu Pashat. So Prabhupada says, there is no need to conduct further research on Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The proof is Ajamil himself. He chanted and he got delivered. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam. Kalau nashteva, nashteva, nashteva gatiranyatha. Like that. Further he says, Etavatalamaga niraharanaya pumsam sankirtanam bhagavato gunakarma namnam vikrushaya putramagavan yadajamilopi Narayaneti mriyamana iyaya muktim. So, eta va alam agha nirahanaya pumsam. So just this much, etavan alam, this much was sufficient. Agha, the sins, niraharanaya, were all taken away of this Ajamil. Sankirtanam bhagavato gunakarma namna. But if one takes to Sankirtana of Lord by chanting Sankirtana of his guna, karma, his naam, vikrushaya putra maghavan yad ajamilopi. So Ajamil, he was just chanting Narayan, calling out his son. Narayaniti mriyamana ihaya muktim. And at the time of death, he chanted and he got mukti. So even if one chants the holy name of Lord with improper pronunciation, he will achieve relief from material bondage if he chants without offenses. So one is easily relieved from all sinful reaction by chanting the holy name of Lord, chanting his qualities and attributes. And this is the only process which is recommended. And the proof is Ajamil did very little. He did not chant thinking of calling Lord Lord's name, Lord's remembering him. He just chanted name of Lord, calling his son. Still he achieved perfection. So Prabhupada is quoting incident from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where when Raghunath Das Goswami's father, Hiranya Majumdar and Govardhan Majumdar, they had called an assembly where Srila Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, he was present. And he was glorifying the names of the Lord. And he was saying that actually the real result of chanting of the holy names is Krishna Prem. And this mukti and this is just side benefit. It's not something substantial. But Prabhupada is saying the Smarta Brahmanas, even there in that assembly, there was this person who actually doubted the words of Haridas Thakur and he got leprosy. The Smarta Brahmanas and Mayavadis do not believe that one can achieve liberation in this way. But Haridas Thakur supports many quotations of the scriptures and the acharyas. That just say if one chants, if one remembers the holy names, the holy deeds of Lord Hari, one can be delivered from this and will attain Krishna Prem. So that is the beauty of chanting of the holy names. So Prabhupada is quoting various verses which Srila Vishwanath Thakur quotes for this particular verse, substantiating the glory of bhakti. So, evam dharmer manusyanam uddhavatmani vedinam mai sanjayate bhakti ko anyo artho swavashishyate. So, that is the perfect religious system which awakens the dormant love for me. So, that is being mentioned. प्रायेण वेदा तदितिं न महाजनोऽयं देव्या विमोहितमतिर्बत माययालं त्रय्यां जदकृति मतिर्मधु पुष्पितायां वैतानिके महति कर्मणि युज्यमाना. So he's saying that the various rishis who have propounded various philosophies, Yajnavalkya, Jaimini, and other compilers, they don't know the secret, the confidential religious system of scriptures, which is bhakti. The 12 Mahajans know. They cannot understand the value of the bhakti, which begins with the chanting of the holy names. Because their minds are attracted by the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in Vedas, which give just temporary benefits. They are not interested or attracted by Sankirtan movement, and on the other side, they are interested or attracted by Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Vedescha sarve aham eva vedya. So Krishna himself proclaims, from all the Vedas, I am to be known. So in this age, Sankirtan is the process of perfection. Further in text number 26, they say, Evam vimrishya sudhiyo bhagavati anante sarvatmana vidadate khalu bhava yogam te mena dandam arhanti atha yadi amisham syat patakam tadapi hanti urugaya vada. So in this verse, Yamaraj is saying, devotees who have adopted the devotional service of chanting are not under my jurisdiction. Even their unintended sin is eradicated by chanting only. So those who are sudhiya, whose intelligence is very sharp, Bhagavati Anante, and they worship the Anant Supreme Lord, Sarvatmana, with all their heart and soul, Vidadate Khalu Bhava Yogam, Bhava Yogam. They worship the Lord with bhava, with devotional service. te me na dandam arhanti atha yadi amisham. So even though they don't deserve punishment from me, syat patakam tadapi hanti urugaya vada. Syat patakam tadapi hanti urugaya vada. Even though sometimes they may do by some mistake, unintentionally, some sinful activities, because they are urugaya vada. Their chanting of the holy names, urugaya vada, chanting of Lord's names, that itself destroys their sinful reactions. So they don't need to be separately punished by me. So that is mentioned here. Prabhupada is quoting from the 10th canto, Lord Brahma's prayers. अथापि ते देव पदाम्बुजद्वय प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एवेहि जानाति तत्त्वं भगवन्महिम्नो नाचन्य एको अपि चिरं विचिन्वा. अथापि ते देव पदाम्बुजद्वय प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव. So in this verse, those who have not got lesha prasad, mercy of the Lord, they may be very scholarly, but they cannot know about Lord. If they have not received leshmat prasad, even small kripa of the Lord, of his lotus feet. So only those can know who are, like in this verse, Yamraj is saying, Evam Vimrishya Sudhiyo Bhagavati. Those who are engaged in loving service of the Lord, they become Sudhiya. They are actually very learned, intelligent, but not just being Vedic scholars who just know a lot of verses or they know up, down, left, right of Vedic scriptures. So that is mentioned here. So what is the criteria? It's telling what is the beauty or what is the effect of chanting of the holy names. First is one who is chanting the holy names because he is fully surrendered, he is very intelligent, he is bhava yogam, he is worshipping the Lord with bhava. So he is not under my jurisdiction. And even if he commits a mistake unintentionally, his sinful reactions are nullified by urugaya vada, by chanting of the holy names. Te deva siddha parigita pavitra gatha ye sadhava samadrisho bhagavat prapanna tannopasidate harer kadaya viguptan nesham vayam na chavaya prabhavam dande. This is a very beautiful verse. So he's saying, who should you bring? You should never bring. First he's telling you should never bring devotees of Lord to me for punishment. Te deva siddha parigita pavitra gatha. Even devtas, siddhas, they sing their gatha. Why? They are sadhava, they are samadrisha, they are very saintly, they are equal to all, they are bhagavad prapanna, they are fully surrendered to the Lord. Tan na upasidate hari gadaya bhuguptan. Don't go near them. Vishnu, he is telling to Yamadutas, don't go near them. Why? Because Lord Hari himself protects them. He is constantly moving about around them with his gada, giving them protection. So for a devotee, Lord is more eager to give protection. Like we see the story of Amrish Maharaj and Durvas Muni. Durvas Muni is such a big rishi. He has so many mystic powers. He becomes angry and he curses and he wants to kill Amrish. But Amrish is not perturbed at all. He is as steadfast in his remembrance to Lord as ever. And Lord Sudarshan is always eager and is continuously behind him to serve him. So in the same mood, here Yamraj is saying, hey, Yamadutas, don't go near such devotees of the Lord. Nesham vayam, neither should I, na cha vaya, neither the time prabhavam dande. They cannot are competent to punish him. Danda. They are always protected by club of Supreme Lord, and therefore Lord Brahma and I, even time factor, are not competent to chastise him. So neither Lord Brahma nor I, Yamraj, nor even time. So he is warning, Yamaraj is warning, Prabhupada says, my dear servants, Yamadutas, despite what you have done previously. So what you have done is done. But in future, you should stop. You should not go near to these surrendered devotees of the Lord. They are constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. And they are praised by demigods, residents of Siddhalok. They are very exalted, respectable. And Lord personally protects them with the club in his hand. It's a very beautiful verse. Tan anayadhvam asato vimukhan mukunda padaravinda makaranda rasadajastram nishkinchane paramahamsa kuler asanger justad griha niraya vartmani baddha trishnam. So Yamadutas may ask, so whom should we bring to you? Who are those personalities we should bring to you? So Yamraj is telling, these are the persons you should bring to me. Tan anayadhvam asato vimukhan mukunda. So those who are vimukhan, they are asata. They have turned against. Anayadhvam, please bring them to me. Who are asata, who are non-devotees, who have turned their face away from Lord. Mukunda padara vinda makarand rasad. So Mukunda, Lord Mukunda's pada arvinda, lotus feet, makaranda, who are not drinking the honey, rasa, who are not tasting the honey of the lotus feet of the Lord, ajarsham, continuously, nishkinchane paramahamsa kuler asangir, and they don't take association of paramahamsa, who are paramhamsas, who are born in parahamsas, they are most exalted. They don't have any material attachment. Justad griha niraye vartmani baddha trishnam. And they are attached to graha and niraya vartmani. And what is their attachment leading to? It's leading to niraya. It's leading to hell. Baddha trishnam. And they are bound by their desires. You should bring such persons to me. So those who are averse to drinking the nectar of honey from the Lord's lotus feet and who do not associate with Paramahamsa devotees. And what is their nature? They are attached to graha, they are attached to worldly enjoyment, and they are chalking the path towards health. To such personalities only you should bring to. So in the previous verse, you should never go near the devotees of the Lord, but you should bring to me these persons who are averse to tasting the nectar from Lord's lotus feet and who do not take shelter and association of Paramahamsas. Prabhupada is quoting different verses. Yan me thunadi grahamedi sukham mitucham nidraya ryate naktam yavayena chavavaya divacharthaya rajan kutumba bharanena va deha apatya kalatradishu atmaseneshu asatsopi tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyanapi na pashyati. So these are the people who you should bring to. So what is the conclusion? In conclusion, one should try to associate with persons who engage in devotional service 24 hours a day. Then further, text 29. Jivanavakti bhagavat gunanama deham chetascha smarati tacharanaravindha krishnaya no namati yachira ekadapi tan anayadvamasato akrita vishnu krityan. Who should you bring to? Who should you bring to me, Jivva Navakti, from their tongue, they never once even utter Bhagavad Guna Namadeham. They don't chant the name and guna of the Lord. Chetas Nasmarati, they don't remember Tat Charnaravinda, the lotus feet of the Lord in their heart, their chetan. Krishnaya no namati, yat shira ekadapi. From their shira, they don't do naman, they don't bow down to Lord Krishna's deity form, to Lord Krishna, ekadapi, even once. Tan anayadhvam, please bring them to me. Asato, Krita Vishnu Krityan. Such people you should bring them to. Why? Because they are asata and akrita Vishnu Krityan. They are not performing their duties towards Lord Hari, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Prabhupada says, please bring me all such fools and rascals. So this is very similar to the set of verses, how each and every limb of Amrish Maharaj was used to serve the Lord. So, but on the other hand, those who are non-devotees, they don't use their limbs for service to the Lord. Further, it's mentioned, Tat Shamyatam Sa Bhagavan Purusha Purana Narayana Sapurasher Yadasat Kritam Na Swanam Ahona Vidusham Rachitanjalina Shantir Gariyasanama Purushaya Bhunne. Tat Shamyatam Sa Bhagavan Purusha Purana. So now Yamraj finally is considering himself and his servants to be offenders, because he is the master and his servants have done something wrong. So he is taking full onus, full responsibility of their wrong actions. Oh my Lord, my servants have surely committed a great offense by arresting a Vaishnava such as Ajamil. O Narayan, O Supreme, oldest person, please forgive me. Because of our ignorance, we failed to recognize Ajamil as a servant of your Lordship. And thus we have certainly committed a great offense. Therefore, with folded hands, Kritanjali, we beg your pardon. My Lord, since you are supremely merciful and always full of good qualities, please pardon us. We offer respectful obeisances on. Shantir Gariyase Nama Purushaya Bhunte. Please give us peace. We offer our Naman to you, Purushaya, who is supreme and all pervading. So that is the nature of a good master. Prabhupada is mentioning, a good master takes responsibility of the actions of his servant. So he does not takes his hand. No, I was not responsible. I never gave them any orders. No, he says it's my responsibility. I did not give them full understanding of who you should be careful of, not to go near the servants of Lord Vishnu. So this is how Shri Amraji actually ascertains. So then, chanting versus Vedic rituals, further Shukdev Goswami mentions from 31st to 35th verse, what is the difference? Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnu Jagan Mangalam Amhasam Mahatam Api Kauravya Vidhi Ekantika Niskriti. So therefore, Sankirtanam Vishnu, the chanting of holy names of Lord Vishnu, Jagan Mangalam Amhasam, it is actually most auspicious for the whole world, Mahatam Api Kauravya. And therefore, even though very great, therefore chanting of Sankirtan is the most auspicious activity in the entire. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously. Vidhi Ekanti Niskritim. And it is the only atonement which will uproot all sinful reactions, even proclivities. It's very powerful, Mahatam. And text number 32 onwards, it's mentioned that not by Vedic rituals, but by only chanting, one can come to pure devotional service very easily. Shanvatam Drinatam Viryani Udmani Harermuhu Yatha Sujataya Bhaktya Shuddhen Na Atma Vratadibi. Na Atma Vratadibi. Not by some Vrata Adi, but one can get Shuddha Bhakti only by Shravanam, Grinatam, Viryani, by chanting, hearing, remembering the names of Lord Hari. So that is mentioned in this verse. And then further it's mentioned, text number 33, devotees being attached to the lotus feet of Krishna does not care for material activities, but others, even after atoning, return back to sinful activities. So, Krishnangri Padma Madhulin na punar vitrishta. So, those who are Krishnangri Padma Madhu, they are tasting the nectar from Lord's lotus feet. Na punar vitrishta. Maya Guneshu Ramata Vijana Vishesh. They don't get attracted or come to, they have no attraction. They are completely satisfied. They are swimming in the nectar of Lord's lotus feet. Anyastu Kamahata Atmaraja Paramavishnu. They are attracted, even though they do atonement, they again engage in sinful activities. That is mentioned. And then text number 34 mentions, since then, what is the effect of this episode? Since then, as soon as Yamadutas see a devotee, they fear and dare not look at him again. Ittam sabharta gaditam bhagavan mahitvam संस्मृत्य विस्मितधियो यमकिंकरस्ते नेवाच्युताश्रयजनं प्रतिसंकमाना द्रष्टुं च बिभ्यति तथा प्रभृति स्म राजन्. द्रष्टुं च बिभ्यति. As soon as they see, they become fearful. They run away from there. They don't want to do anything with the devotees of the Lord. They were stuck with wonder. Vismita Dhiya Yamakinkaras, the Yamakinkaras, the Yamadutas, they became Vismita Dhiyo. They became very astonished hearing the glories of Lord Narayan and his subjects, Vishnudutas. And therefore, they are very fearful from them. Itihasam imam guyam bhagwan kumbha sambhava kathayam asamalaya asino harim archayan. Agastya told me this story at Malaya Hills. So that is how Shukdev Goswami replies, and this is how this episode of Ajamil, which very, very beautifully glorifies the aspect of chanting of the holy names as the most essential, crucial, and important limb of the process of bhakti. And what is the effect of such chanting, even if done without desire to serve or please the Lord, which was the case with Ajamil, but he got to his senses hearing the conversation. He delivered his life, and later in the conversation between Yamaraj and Yamadutas, we saw that what is the greatness of devotees of the Lord. Even Yamaraj and Yamadutas are fearful to go near. Why? Because Lord is personally protecting such devotees. So, in today's discussion, we saw to eradicate the doubts one may have about bhakti, about chanting of the holy names. Parikshit Maharaj starts by asking question, and Shukdev Maharaj starts by narrating how Yamadutas, after having the interaction with Vishnudutas, went to Yamaraj, and they expressed their grief that we were stopped. We thought you are the supreme most authority. Yamaraj becomes very happy hearing Narayan and remembering the Lord in Yamaloka, where punishment, killing, is the only word which is heard. And then he starts glorifying. He becomes so happy. He glorifies that dharma is actually which is proclaimed by the Lord. And what is the glory of chanting the holy names? And who should you bring for punishment? Who should you always stay away from the Lord's devotees? And this is how the glory of the holy name is very beautifully mentioned. So, we'll conclude here. Anyone has any quick comment, suggestions you can add? Okay, so thank you very much for your patient and enthusiastic participation. So we'll see you next week. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.